How's it, John here? This is the last episode of my Making an Inventory System series. So, in this episode, we are going to be adding a count to our inventory system. So, as you see here, if we collect some items, we can collect them and we can place them. As you see, we can collect them. It has stacks, and if we just pause it here, you can see the item manager. We can just set the max stack count. So let's say the max stack count of the netherite block is 2. Or if you want an item, maybe 1. So maybe the acacia plank count, max stack count is 1. So if we go here, it stacks in 2s. And acacia plank, it would be more like maybe a pickaxe or something, so it'd only have us be able to stack once. Now we can also place it, as you see, and the placing works well. And of course, you can't place empty slots. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. The first thing we should edit is the inventory slot. So if we go prefabs and open up our inventory slots, as you see, we have our inventory slot. However, I want to add a thing. We want to go to UI and add the Text Mesh Pro. Now, if you don't have it, you'll get this little window. So just import TMP Essentials. Now, you don't need examples and extras, so we'll just close the window. As you see, we have some text here. We can change the color. You can make it any color. I might, if we just go to our select and let's just copy this color. Let's try and make it the same color as our outline. I think they'd look good. Now if we can just make the font size auto and change the minimum to 0. And there you go. And if we just scale it down to a good size, and we just move it, let's say here. There we go. If we made it, let's say 999, okay, we want to change, first of all, we want to change alignment to right. There we go. I think they'd look good. And then just extend it as far up to here, let's say. Because the number will never ever get that big. It should never get that big. But just in case, just to make sure it has some space. Good. I'm just going to change it to 9. And maybe also just make it a bit bigger. So if we go save and actually let's rename it. Count. There we go. Count text. I think that's a good name. And if we exit it and we go to press play, what should happen, yes, as you see, we have numbers, but these do nothing, as you'd expect. So what we want to do is we want to go to scripts, and I'm going to open the code for the inventory slot, and we're going to add some useful methods and a couple of important variables that we need. So let's jump in Visual Studio. Right, I'm going to add a public integer. I'm going to name this count, and I'm going to set that to 0. I'm also going to go using Unity Engine, and to use Text Mesh Pro, you have to go using Unity Engine .tmpro. Good, Text Mesh Pro. Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot. It's just TMP. Okay, there we go. That'll work. Now, what you can do is you can go public, okay, TMP underscore text. There we go. And name this count text. Good. Okay. Now, if let's just go to our over here, and we want to go count text. Okay, is equal, so count text is equal to game manager, okay, dot get child, and it is the child of transform, okay, because there's an inventory slot, and name it count text, or the exact same name you put in as a text. Okay, and it's going to give us errors, so we need to go dot get component. Okay, get component, and we need to convert it to tmp underscore text, or get that component. There we go. And now we want to go count text dot game object dot set active, and we just want to hide it. There we go. Now, oh, I just noticed something. It seems from the last video, it seems I did a mistake. It seems it's my IDE here is also giving me a law not necessary. So in ID is not equal to -1. Okay, there we go. Okay, for some reason I made it null. And essentially what this will do is if ID it is not, we don't have an empty slot, then we want to set the sprite. And if we do have an empty slot, so ID is equal to -1, then we just set the sprite to null. Okay, good. I just want to add this also. So we want to go count is equal to 0, and then we can go count text. Okay, count text dot set active. Okay, whoops, I forgot the dot game object dot set active. There we go, and we want to hide it. And all that means, oh, it seems I accidentally broke this. There we go. And all that really means is that, okay, there we go. If the ID is equal to -1, so it's an empty ID, it should be empty, then we just hide the text. And also we set the sprite to null. Okay, so I also want to add a public void, right? And it's public void, and it's going to be called set slot count. There we go. And we're going to give it an integer underscore count, which would be the new counts. And then all it read, and you'd think all it would be is just count is equal to underscore count, but we also want to update the text. So count text dot text equal to count, okay, dot toString. There we go. However, that is not it, because what if the count is 0? If the count is 0, then all we want to do is we want to set the slot ID to -1, because it's empty. If there's no count, then it's just empty. Else if, which is kind of like a different if statement. So if this fails, then we'll run this. Okay, then count is equal to 1. If it's equal to 1, then we want to go count text dot game object dot set active, and let's just hide it. Okay, that means if it's 1, then you don't even need to show the text. Okay, let's just add the brackets. And then finally, if it's neither of these, then just go count text dot game object dot set active and set that to true. Okay, because that means it's just a normal number. It's not 0 or 1. So it's just like, let's say 8 or 9 or something. And then we can update the text. Good. The next thing I want to do is in inventory, we want to, this part was supposed to be temporary, so you can just delete it. Good. The next method I want to add is in inventory. I want to add a, public bool try remove. Okay, and this will be called basically it will return false if it can't remove, and it will return true if it can remove, and when it's returned true, it will also have done it. So it will try remove it. It will take in an integer, and that will be inventory slot ID. There we go. And it will also take an integer amount to remove. And let's just quickly add in our try remove inventory slot, and this we'll call this slot is equal to inventory slots, okay, in the index of inventory slot ID, which is this inventory slot ID. Good. Dot get component, because we can't convert it, so we need to get the component inventory slots. There we go. Next, it's giving us a warning. The reason why is because we're not returning anything. So we need to return false, and that's just default. Okay. So if so if slot, so if slot dot count, minus by the amount removed is smaller than 0, means we're removing too much and we just can't do it. So we need to return false. Else we need to return, or just any other condition, return true. And we go slot.set slot count, which is the method we just made, and we need to give it slot.count minus by amount removed. There we go. Now, if we go to our building system, whenever we remove something, that will be when we're placing something, because we're taking it out the inventory. Now, this placing will be done right here. Okay, and we go inventory dot try remove. There we go. And we need to give it inventory dot get selected index, and then 1, which is all we're going to remove. Now you can make this number different, so whenever you break a block, it will remove, let's say, 3, or something like, or whenever you place a block, it will take away 3 blocks, let's say, but that's not necessary because you're only placing 1 block at a time. Okay. And all the rest of the code is the same, and if this returns false, then nothing will happen. If it returns true, it will automatically run, and it will let us set the tile. Okay, now we can do try add. So go in inventory again. This unfortunately won't be as simple, and there we go, try add. There we go. Let's just delete nearly everything. Actually, let's just delete everything. It is going to input different thing. It's going to input the added amount. Okay. And also the ID of what type it's going to get in. So whether it's dirt, which could be ID 1, let's say, or something like that. It's going to have an int, and it's going to have amount left. Okay. A lot of these variables won't be used or won't make sense at the start, but added amount is equal to added amount left. Okay, so to put it very simply, all this has to do is it has to loop through all the inventory slots that we're able to use, and it's just going to one by one add as much as it can to the inventory slots. And then if it's full and we still have some amount left, then it's going to go on to the next inventory slot, and the next, and if it runs out of inventory slot, it's just going to return false. Okay, so now we want to have an int amount available is equal to 0. Okay, now this won't be used for a tiny bit also. Okay, first let's just check if the amount we give it, so added amounts basically, is it must be if it's smaller than 0, then something's gone wrong because we can't give it negative value. So all we do is return false. Good. So next we want let's make a list. Okay, this is going to be a list of inventory slots. Okay, and this is going to be called available slots. And this is just all the slots we're able to use. So all the slots are either empty or have the same ID and and we can add something to it. So here we're going to make a for loop, okay, and we're going to change the max amount into inventory slots dot count. And that's looping through every single inventory slot we have, which isn't a lot, so it won't have any bad performance. And it's just going to loop through them and just check, and if it's empty or if it has the same ID and some count left, then it'll just add it to available slots. And that will be easier to use. Okay, we need to go, let's add slot. Okay. Now we want to add our inventory slot out here. Now the reason why is because if we're going to do something like slots is equal to inventory slots, and the reason why we're not just making it here is because if we carry on making it in a loop, that could cause some bad performance. And this won't cause any difference. Good. Okay, we need to give it an index of I dot get component, and let's give it inventory slot. Okay, good. So next we're going to go if the slot dot ID is the same as the ID we given it. Okay, but even if the ID is the same, it doesn't matter, because if the ID is the same, that's great, but the count must also be, we must also have a count so that we can actually add something to it. Now we're going to go to our item manager, and we're going to item manager, there we go, and we're going to add a very important variable, and this is going to be called a public integer max stack count. There we go. And that's just how high it can stack. In some items, like in Minecraft, the max stack count is 64, so you can have 64 dirt in one slot. However, let's say you have a different item, like let's say a pickaxe or something, it can't stack, so you make the stack count, maximum stack count 1, let's say. Or if you have I think it's an ender pearl, let's say you could make the max stack count 15. And this would be the same concept here. So let's go back to our inventory script. Okay. So, and slot, slot.count is smaller than item manager, not the class, our variable, item manager. Okay, let's just add a item manager variable. So private item manager, there we go. And let's just quickly set it. Okay, let's go here. Okay, oops, I accidentally deleted there. Item manager, is equal to game object dot find game object with tag, not to be confused with find game objects with tag, which is very similar. And we're going to give it an item manager, there we go, dot get component, there we go, and we're going to have the component item manager. Good. There we go. So now here, item manager, we can go item manager dot items, okay, and the index of slot dot ID, okay, dot the max stack count. There we go. And if we have it's lower, our current count is lower than the max stack count, then we can add, then that would be part of the available slots. So available slots dot add, and we can add that slot. Good. And then amount available would be added by item manager dot items, okay, in slot dot ID dot max stack count minus by the slot dot count, which is how much this is just how much available space we're able to add. And later we'll do a check, because if we have amount available is less than the added amount, then we just return false. We can't do it. Okay, and then let's just go else if. Okay, actually let's just delete that. Let's just put let's add an and. Okay, actually let's add an or. Have an or the slot dot ID. Okay, so if the slot ID is equal to -1, then we can do the same thing, which means it's empty. Good. Now, if we can just go here, and we can go if the amount available is smaller than the added amount, okay, then we just go return false. Good. Okay. Now, we do need to add one more line, and I'll show you what happens if we don't. I'll add it at the end, but you'll see the problem when I finished writing this, and I'll show you what happened if we don't add this special line. So if, okay, available slots dot count, there we go, dot count is greater than 0, okay, so we have multiple available slots, then we just loop for, okay, and we just loop through all the available slots, okay, dot count, okay, and we also must do a and amount left is greater than 0, sorry, there we go. So basically what this means is it's kind of like an if statement embedded in here. So if I is smaller than available slots dot counts, and this will carry on looping until I is smaller than is greater than available slots dot counts, and the amount left is greater than 0. Okay, so if available slots in the index of I, right, dot ID is equal to -1, there we go, then we can just go available slots and index of I dot set slot ID, and just say to ID, because it's there we go. And that just means that because it's -1, it's empty, then we can set to the ID we need. Then available slots, if available slots in the index of I dot count plus the amount left is smaller or equal to item manager dot items, okay, in the index of available slots in the index of I dot ID. There we go, and it just go dot max stack count. So this just means so if our available slot, if this slot, right, plus the amount, all the amount left, okay, is smaller than the maximum stack counts of it, then we've basically done. We can just go available slots in the index of I dot set slot count, and the index of available slots I dot count plus by the amount left. And we can just go amount left is equal to 0. Okay, else, then that means that just the slot filled up to the maximum is not enough, so we still have some amount left. Then we need to go available slots, index of I, okay, dot by count, okay, dot set slot count, okay, item manager, dot items, in the index of available slots, index of I dot ID, and then dot max stack count. And we're just setting this slot's slot count to the maximum slot count because it's full. And then we go amount left minus equals by, and we can just copy this because we've filled a full stack. There we go. And then at the end of all this, we can just go return true. Okay, now if we go to our build system, okay, and in break, then we can go and inventory dot try add, and we want to add it 1, and that's the increment amount, and we want to give it to item manager dot get item by tile. Wait, I haven't added this method yet, so I'll add that in a second, and we'll have that in tilemap dot get tile. And we need to convert this to something because I'm not sure why, but it returns, if you look here, it will return a tile base. We do not want that. We want to return it just a tile. There we go. And we want to give it a position. Now if we go, let's just go to our inventory, item manager, sorry. There we go, item manager. And all this is we loop through all our items and all of them, and we check if they have the tile we're looking for. If they do, just return. So public int would return the ID of that. So get item by tile, perfect. And that will input a tile. There we go. And we'll name this underscore tile. There. We'll loop through all of them, all the items. You might want to find a better way if you have like thousands and thousands of items. Like Minecraft, I'm pretty sure they have over 500 items. So if you have that many items, you know, to just choosing a different system. But for this, the worst case scenario is loop through every single, all the items, which in this case are only about 9 or 10. Okay, we're going to check here if items, index of I, okay, dot tile is equal to underscore tile. If it is, then we just return I. If it isn't, then at the end we must return something, so we just return 0. So if it doesn't exist, then it might return an incorrect tile. So just be wary about that. Let's just add the correct amount of brackets, and I think if we go test this, it should work. Okay, I'm in Unity, let's just test it. If we let's say place a couple blocks, just quickly like place all the different types of blocks quick. Okay, I've just painted all the tiles. Oh, of course, I forgot to set something. We need to just open all these up, and we need to set the max stack counts. I'm just going to make it 64, but you can make it, be generous, make it 999 or something. But you can make it pretty much any number. Just if it's 0, then you can't get the item. Let's say I make acacia logs max stack count is 5. So there's acacia logs. Oh, we have an index out of range. Let's see if we can fix that quick. Oh, okay. we need to, we need to separate this. So else if, and we seem to need to separate this into a different if statement. There we go. And it's the same thing, but we must make remove minus slot count. Now let's test it. And of course, we need to make this ID. Okay, now let's test it. So if don't worry about these null reference errors I'm getting. These appear to be editor errors, so you can just clear them and it should be fine. Okay, if we go here, it seems, okay, that's, oops, I got an acacia plank. If we test it, yep, it's stacked up to 5, that's it. So if we just quickly made all the items max stacked to 5, and if we just press play, this is just to make sure because we don't really have a lot of items here. As you see, it stacks it if we mine all of them. Now I can actually show you the problem if we just restart this. Okay, now I'll actually show you the problem. Okay, let's just click each one of them. There we go. It'll fill up our inventory. And if, let's say we collect leaves, let's just click some. Oh, okay, it seems I found a bit of a broken thing here. Whoops. Let's just see if I can fix this quick. Okay, I just figured out the problem. Turns out it's quite simple. What I did, right, is this code, I should change that, make this block ID, and replace change selected index in here to this. Now the reason why this was having a problem is because the block ID here was correct, but here it wasn't. So now let's test it. Okay, if we press play now, and if we just destroy everything and we try and place it, as you see, it all works. And the beauty of the system, and the reason why it's actually a bit more complicated, is because let's say I move a netherite block to the very top right, and we destroy it, this doesn't become netherite block. And that's nice because you can have these in different order from the inventory slot, which is actually necessary for this system. Okay, there's one thing left to do. It's a small bug. So let's say I collect a leaf, right? Then I collect a log and I just get rid of the leaf. Okay, if we try and get a log, as you see, it instead chooses to use up another inventory slot, which is not what we want. We want to use a clean inventory slot as kind of last resort if there are no other inventory slots with the correct ID. So let's code that in. Now this is very simple to add in. So all we have to do is here, essentially we want to sort the IDs. So -1 IDs are all at the end. So we need to sort available slots IDs. So the -1s are at the end and all the IDs with the same ID are at the very start. So we'll use up the start IDs first. Right. So we just go available slots is equal to available slots dot order, okay, order by descending, okay, there we go, and we're going to have S is equal or greater than or equal to S dot ID, okay, and then we need to convert this to a list. Okay, inventory slots, and if we just do this quick, there we go, that is it. Now if we test this, okay, and if we press play now, let's say we get a stone, then we click some wood, place the stone back and click more wood, as you see, it will choose this. And it'll only use a new slot only after we need to have a new stack. And as you see, we can literally collect as many as we want until we are full. And there we go. We can't collect anymore. And if we want to collect more, and we'll need to have at least either one slot or a slot with a not full stack. Right, this is the end of the video and the series. If you want to use any of the resources we used in the video, like the Quadrille pack, then go in the link in the description. It will also contain all the previous videos of the series. So if you want to check that out, just go to the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!